Hi guys, I'm Mark.
And I'm Mina.
And today we are here to discuss our management topic of tourism within the Blue Mountains. So as you guys would know by now, the Blue Mountains are located 95 kilometers west of Sydney CBD and are known for their beautiful scenery and vast variety of touristic adventures.
On a yearly basis, the Blue Mountains attract over 4.5 million tourists that visit a year. The region is home to the most visited national park in New South Wales and consists of a large variety of walking tracks, scenic views, waterfalls, indigenous rock paintings, and countless other attractions. We will first start off by talking about the goals of the tourism industry.
There are several goals regarding tourism that have been discussed within Blue Mountain City Council and by various other government bodies throughout the nation. The overarching goal of these governing bodies is to promote Australia to the world. This is done on a federal level by the Australian Government, a state level by Destination New South Wales, and by regional authorities such as the Blue Mountain City Council.
Another goal of tourism within the Blue Mountains area includes providing recreational and enjoyable activities for local residents and international tourists. Thirdly, the local government desires the commercial benefits from the tourism industry, i.e., an expected social return on investments. And finally, tourism aims to educate people about indigenous culture and allow them to grow an appreciation for the natural landscape.
The next thing we will discuss are the stakeholders who are associated with the Blue Mountains tourism industry. There are 5 main categories of stakeholders that are concerned with tourism of the Blue Mountains. The first category of stakeholders includes both international and national tourists who desire to visit the area to enjoy the beautiful landscape, dine at some of the best restaurants, and journey along various walking tracks. The next group of stakeholders are the local residents within the Blue Mountains area. Local residents are more concerned about community development and health, i.e., air and water quality. The area receives over 4.5 million visitors per year, which in turn has created over 5,000 jobs and generated $500 million in economic return. Local residents would expect this income to transpire into the growth of the community and updating current facilities which may be exhausted from the influx of people. The third group of stakeholders are the local indigenous communities which can be found throughout the Blue Mountains district. The indigenous communities are concerned about the damage that will occur to the natural landscape by the influx of tourists who are uneducated on the importance of sustainability or Aboriginal culture. Additionally, the lack of acknowledgement and appreciation of the traditional owners of the land, as well as the limited opportunities to practice Aboriginal culture, creates a divide between the indigenous community and governing bodies.
The fourth group of stakeholders falls under the broad heading of organising bodies, which include both government bodies and not-for-profit organisations. This category can be subdivided into various different groups which include the Blue Mountains City Council, the Blue Mountains World Heritage Institution, and the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, also known as UNESCO. Although these organizations fall under the same heading of government bodies, they all play a different role with the promotion and care of the Blue Mountains area. Blue Mountain City Council's main concern with regards to tourism encompasses the need for an economical benefit from the tourism industry. The Blue Mountains World Heritage Institute focuses not only on the environmental preservation of the Blue Mountains, but also the conservation of the indigenous cultural values. Finally, UNESCO works on ensuring that the indigenous culture is not only spread to the surrounding community, but that they are also treated fairly. They are also responsible for the preservation of the Blue Mountains World Heritage Area. The last group that contributes to the tourism industry within the area are the various groups which carry out recreational activities. These groups include horse riders, four-wheel drive enthusiasts, and bushwalkers who regularly visit core sites, leaving other areas unimpacted. This degrades the landscape of the frequently visited core sites at an accelerated rate and creates an ecological imbalance.
The next thing we will discuss are the trends that are being noticed as a result of the tourism industry and the possible original causes of these trends. The first trend we notice are that more tourists are attracted by the Blue Mountains on an annual basis, which encourages residents to live in the area, hence increasing urbanization within the region. There are two possible causes for this trend. The first cause could be a result of the great scenery, diverse dining options, and good vibes of the area, which attract many visitors into migrating. The next possible cause could be the vast increase in job opportunities found throughout the Blue Mountains district. This is mainly due to the ever increasing population of tourists that have been visiting the World Heritage Area on a yearly basis. It was stated by Dylan when visiting Scenic World that in the year 2018 there had been a 20% increase in Chinese tourists compared to 2017. The second trend we notice is the increased number of bushwalkers and nature enthusiasts who traverse the walking tracks installed by local governments. There are over 300 walking tracks and over 1.25 million people who travel along these walking tracks annually. This increase is occurring due to society's emphasis on gym culture and health. These walking tracks in turn have become more and more popular and are now used to host trail running events. Over time, these events have increased in popularity, initially hosting 300 members and now increasing to several thousand members per event.
Thirdly, there seems to be a trend that is occurring throughout the national park regarding areas which are not traversed on a regular basis. It has become more evident over time that tourists have become fearful of exploring areas that are not widely known. These areas are made out to be dangerous and not for visitors through the various news headlines as well as articles that are released. This distortion of the truth deters tourists from exploring the entirety of the national park. This therefore limits the areas of visitation by tourists to core sites such as Wentworth Falls and the Three Sisters. Finally, another major and detrimental trend that has the ability to decimate the tourism industry is the occurrence of a wildfire. These wildfires are caused by the great imbalance in weather due to climate change and its adverse effects. Climate change plays a big role in the increased temperatures throughout the Blue Mountains region, increasing the chances of a wildfire occurring. Moreover, unmanaged fires are quite common due to the amount of dried up vegetation that litters the entirety of the national park. This therefore is a great concern of the tourism industry and must be dealt with. Now that we've spoken about the following trends, we are now able to discuss the following projections. Projections refer to trends that have been left unattended. From the trends that we have discussed previously, if left as is, the following will most likely occur. These projections were sourced from various government websites that suggested the following. Projection 1 was sourced from the Report of Tourism Forecasts released by the Australian government in 2017. It states that in the year 2026 to 2027, there will be a 50% increase in the money spent on tourism, reaching a whopping $151.4 billion. It is said that the amount of tourists visiting Australia will increase to 15 million throughout the entire year. It is anticipated that Chinese tourism will grow a further 25.7%. This therefore introduces the idea of an increase in urbanization throughout the Blue Mountains region, and will in turn increase the amount of job opportunities and revenue available for the local community and government.
It is also projected that the number of tourists who visit Australia will continue to grow. Additionally, it is expected that climate change will worsen over the next few years, as the available data has revealed that Australia is not on track to achieving the target of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. Hence, it is expected that the number of tourists and therefore the income generated will be limited by the nation's ability to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The final projection which we can expect are the increased amount of wildfires. Due to the decreased back burning or cultural burning, there is a lot more fuel on the floor for a fire to consume. The increased occurrences of these wildfires will negatively impact the economic growth of the area, as the entire tourism industry is unable to function in the presence of a wildfire. Based on what was spoken above, there are numerous recommendations and alternatives that we suggest can aid the tourism sector in preventing some ill-fated projections and alternatively create a beneficial outcome to the majority of stakeholders involved. The first recommendation and alternative we suggest is to embrace the practice of cultural burning, as this provides a means for the indigenous people to practice their culture whilst also eliminating a significant amount of fuel that can be used to accelerate wildfires. According to the Australian government, the 2013 wildfires, which occurred in October, cost the tourism industry over $70 million and destroyed over 500 jobs. If given the chance to implement cultural burning, the government is given a chance to also create further jobs, continue positive dialogue with Indigenous people, and also minimise the chance of wildfires, creating a satisfactory outcome for all parties involved.
A second amendment which can be made to the current policy is to charge visitors a small fee for using walking tracks and accessing some of the lookouts of the World Heritage Area. As of now, accessing the World Heritage Area is completely free of charge, and introducing a small payment may be a deterrence for some visitors. However, we believe that this charge is necessary as it allows revenue to be generated and is used to directly conserve the World Heritage Area. There is currently a lack of funding that is being used on conserving the national park, and this provides a means of keeping regular maintenance. This in turn will ensure that the walking tracks are free from the presence of weeds and keeps the area in a clean, pristine condition. Over time, this will generate more touristic attraction and will increase the revenue available from this sector. The final amendment that we considered was by promoting fire in a positive light. Society tends to think of fire as a threat rather than something natural and perhaps beneficial. By introducing the indigenous ceremony of smoking widely into the tourism industry, the Blue Mountains district will not only decrease the fear that is associated with fire, but will also be able to educate tourists about the traditions of the original landowners.
Go for it.
Like I was saying, guys, you don't need a big bushfire. That's plenty there. Come, we'll start with you, brother. Yep. We'll just go around that way if you want. Awesome.
As seen in the video clip that was just played, the smoking ceremony performed was embraced by the tourists. These people were given a first-hand experience into the controlled use of fire, teaching them to not fear fire as well as exposing them to indigenous culture.
In conclusion, although various stakeholders rely on the income generated from tourism within the Blue Mountains area, more needs to be done to preserve their area, and finding the right balance between economic and environmental preservation is essential.